The story of Quiznos is like that of a superstar footballer who fell off a cliff as quickly as he rose to fame. Quiznos was one of the fastest growing restaurants, boasting about 5,000 locations. Pretty sure saying there's only about 20% of that left will be quite the shocker, but that's the reality. Today, we'll explore Quiznos' rise to fame and how things went the wrong way. Back in 1978, there was a new Italian restaurant in Denver called Footers. The owners, Jimmy Lambatos and Todd Disner, thought about opening another restaurant, this time an Italian-style deli. They didn't hurry. Instead, they used their current restaurant to prepare by creating new recipes, like a red wine vinegar dressing and a special type of baguette. These were crucial for their potential new place. In 1981, after years of planning, they finally opened Quiznos. It wasn't a big surprise that it became an instant hit. With experienced owners and a well-thought-out vision, they had a winning combination. Plus, one of the key factors in their early success was the simple fact that they toasted their sandwiches. Quiznos aimed to enhance the meat and bread flavors while achieving that delightful, melty cheese. A seemingly obvious choice now, but Quiznos was something of a toasting pioneer. They proudly dubbed themselves the home of the toasted sub, and were believed to be the first to do it on such a large scale. Initially, Quiznos drew much of its business from a specific group, busy businessmen and women during their lunch break. Opening their restaurants with this target audience in mind, they focused on selecting quality ingredients reflected in their prices. Quiznos wasn't a high-end Italian restaurant, nor was it a typical fast food joint. Rather, it aimed to capture the best of both worlds, offering something in the middle for those seeking a flavorful and convenient dining experience. Quiznos started franchising here, but trouble emerged around 1991, a decade after the first Quiznos opened. Jimmy and Todd, having 18 locations by then, and each making around $27,000 monthly, seemed successful. Yet, beneath the surface, problems arose. Despite Quiznos expanding, individual restaurants lacked improvement and product quality suffered. Jimmy and Todd, lacking funds and experience, couldn't fix these issues or support existing franchisees. The initial promise faded as challenges mounted. In January 1991, facing challenges, Jimmy and Todd made a tough call to sell Quiznos. The buyer was Rick Shaden, a franchisee who already managed 3 locations with his father. Rick had been involved with Quiznos for about 4 years by then. For better or worse, the Shadens shaped Quiznos from the beginning. Desiring growth, they swiftly built an infrastructure prioritizing profit. Within 2 years of acquisition, annual sales rose from $7 million to $8.5 million, and their locations doubled from 20 to 40. Their approach yielded significant expansion, albeit with a shift in focus. By the end of 1993, Quiznos had more than doubled its presence, boasting 40 locations spread across key states. However, this growth would soon seem modest. In 1994, they kicked their expansion plan into high gear. At the beginning of the year, they conducted a public offering that generated over $4 million. Nearly all of this capital was dedicated to opening new Quiznos locations, marking a pivotal moment in the restaurant chain's journey. They adopted a system involving area directors, individuals purchasing the rights to open restaurants in specific locations. To streamline expansion, Quiznos even reduced the size of their new locations to cut costs and implemented other strategies. However, it's important to note that their revenue isn't solely from sandwich sales. Quiznos, operating under a franchising model, had a more intricate revenue structure beyond the straightforward sale of a $5 sandwich. Let's delve into where all this revenue originated from. In 1996, Quiznos achieved an impressive revenue number of almost $7.5 million, with 156 restaurants in operation. Notably, only 9 of these restaurants were owned by Quiznos, while the other 147 were franchised. In a franchising model, individuals or entities own these restaurants, paying Quiznos for the privilege of using the brand, selling their products, and more. Breaking down the $7.5 million revenue, 21%, approximately $1.6 million, came from royalty fees. payments made by franchise owners to Quiznos for the right to sell their products. Another 6%, about $450,000, was derived from 6% of all sales. Additionally, 16%, around $1.2 million, originated from initial franchising fees, a fee paid to Quiznos when someone opens a new franchise. Given the cost of around $20,000 per new franchise and the significant number of new franchises, this contributed substantially to Quiznos' revenue. Breaking down the 1996 revenue further, 19%, around $1.4 million, came from area director fees. These were one-time fees paid by area directors for the rights to open locations in designated areas. The fee varied, ranging from 3 to 5 cents per person residing in the designated area. Another 3%, approximately $225,000, represented other revenue, primarily comprising of bookkeeping fees. Furthermore, 2%, about $150,000, constituted interest income from area directors. Quiznos provided financing options for those unable to pay the entire fee up front. Notably, 36%, roughly $2.7 million, was attributed to sales by company-owned stores, reflecting sales from the 9 stores owned directly by Quiznos. The remaining 3%, approximately $225,000, accounted for sales by stores held for resale, representing sales from company-owned stores that Quiznos owned for parts of the year before selling them to franchisees. Exactly, Quiznos generated revenue not only from selling sandwiches, but also from the complex structure of fees, royalties, and sales from various aspects of its franchising model. If a location faces challenges, the company might take it over, address the issues, and then sell it again, often to a new owner. In 2001, Quiznos transitioned back to private ownership. The individuals who owned it before the public offering in 1994 returned, steering the company into another phase of expansion. By 2003, they had doubled their locations to 2,000, and this growth continued aggressively. In 2007, the number of locations more than doubled again, reaching a peak of 5,000. However, since then, Quiznos has experienced a slow but consistent decline in the number of locations. Despite its peak in 2007, the subsequent years have seen a gradual reduction in the brand's presence. The question remains, what went wrong? In the mid-2000s, franchise owners started expressing concerns. National promotions mandated low prices, but franchises had to pay above-market prices for supplies. Frustration grew as profits dwindled, leading to lawsuits against Quiznos. One lawsuit referenced a 2003 memorandum by a Quiznos lawyer revealing that 40% of units weren't breaking even, a detail prospective franchisees claimed they weren't informed about. Owners felt deceived, thinking Quiznos took advantage of them. Stories like Alyssa Whitehall's emerged. 3 years after paying the licensing fee, she hadn't opened her Quiznos, and the $25,000 license fee remained unreimbursed, illustrating the challenges faced by franchisees. Between 2003 and 2005, Quiznos faced legal challenges as a lawsuit revealed they had collected around $7 million in fees from 350 franchising licenses, yet failed to secure locations for them. The situation worsened in 2005 when Subway dealt dual blows to Quiznos. Firstly, Subway introduced toasts at all their locations, and secondly, they launched the highly successful $5 footlong promotion. This left Quiznos without a unique marketing angle for their sandwiches, and thousands of their locations were losing money. Compounding the issue was Subway's outstanding marketing, which stood in stark contrast to Quiznos. Despite Subway's mascot, Jared, aging poorly, the $5 footlong campaign was a triumph, shaping public perception and further challenging Quiznos' position in the market. While Subway boasted Jared, Quiznos took a different approach with the quirky Sponge Monkeys. But their troubles deepened in 2006. In a leveraged buyout, Quiznos sold 49% of the company to CCM Capital Advisors, sealing their fate. This move added hundreds of millions of dollars in debt to their existing challenges. Oddly enough, this substantial debt was overshadowed by what occurred in 2007. At the pinnacle with 4,700 locations, Quiznos faced a daunting peak in another aspect: the highest number of franchisees suing them in a single year. Quiznos faced a massive franchisee revolt, leading to years of litigation with thousands of franchise owners. The lawsuits resulting in many franchise closures coincided with the Great Recession of 2008. Already grappling with struggling stores, the recession proved to be the final blow for Quiznos. Between 2008 and 2012, Quiznos experienced a staggering closure of over 2,000 stores. Doing the math reveals a grim reality: more than one store shutting down every day for 4 years. With each closure, their once sturdy system began to crumble. The domino effect unfolded. Fewer stores meant diminishing revenue for their marketing budget, translating to fewer eyes on their products. Day by day, Quiznos grew weaker, losing stores, money, and ultimately everything. By 2014, after postponing the inevitable, Quiznos filed for bankruptcy on March 14th. The financial report painted a dire picture, indicating $875 million in loan obligations. 2015 marked the true beginning of the end. At this point, they had fewer than 700 stores open, with the ominous prospect of more closures looming on the horizon. Despite the challenges, Quiznos attempted a turnaround in 2015 by introducing a grill concept as part of its revival strategy. Unfortunately, this plan, including the grill concept, faltered within a year. Franchisees continue to face financial losses, resulting in more store closures. Fast forward to 2018, and a private equity firm named High Bluff Partners made an interesting decision to acquire Quiznos. Jerry Lopez, High Bluff's operating partner, expressed optimism, stating, "Quiznos is an iconic brand with room for growth. We are excited about the acquisition." The move signaled a new chapter for Quiznos, as they sought to revitalize the iconic brand under new ownership. Since the purchase, Quiznos has 40 fewer locations, and things are not getting any better. Do you think this restaurant will go extinct? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content.